Hola, ¿cómo estás? Entonces, ¿quieres tener tu primera conversación en español? Well, you are in the right place. Welcome to today's lesson. Today, you're going to learn how to have your first conversation in Spanish. Now, maybe you already know some Spanish, or maybe you're a complete beginner. Here's the thing. If you already know some Spanish, then you just need to do this, which I'm not sure if you recognize this simple symbol. This is the symbol from the very famous shoe company, Nike. Just do it. Now, here's the reality. If you know some Spanish, then you are ready to have your first conversation in Spanish. Now, you might be saying things like, well, Nate, I know some things, but I have no one to speak with. Or you might be saying, hey, I know some people to speak with, or, I have these resources available to me, but I'm too nervous. I don't feel ready. I feel nervous and I feel unconfident. I just don't think I'm ready. Well, the reality is, these are just storylines that you have told yourself. Even if you know very little in Spanish, you can have your first conversation. I like to think of when I first started learning Spanish in high school. My very first class, the class in which I learned the things I'm going to show you in today's video, I learned things like buenos días, buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás? The most basic things in Spanish. But immediately after that class, I got out of class, I went to lunch, and I immediately started trying to speak Spanish with my friend Luis. And I was just saying basic things to him, buenos días. He's like, yeah, that means good morning. Even though I couldn't have a conversation that I wanted to have with him, by going out and trying to speak, that actually motivated me a lot to improve my Spanish. And not only that, but it made me learn much faster because I was constantly running into things that I wanted to say, but I just couldn't. I just didn't know how. I didn't have the vocabulary or the sentence structure or whatever. So then I would be forced to learn and look these things up and figure them out, okay? So if you feel like you're not ready, you are, and you just have to do it, okay? Now, there are many resources online for you to be able to speak Spanish with people. Online language exchanges that are totally free, hiring a teacher online, communities like my Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy, shameless self-promotion there, okay? But you just gotta do it, okay? Even if you feel like you're not ready, and if you're feeling nervous and unsure, I promise you, if you just do it, you, over time, are going to become much more confident, okay? It's just a matter of practice makes perfect, okay? All right, but let's say you are a beginner and you really don't know how to have your first conversation in Spanish. Here are the phrases that you need to know. ¿Cómo estás? You probably know this one, just meaning how are you? You can also say ¿Cómo está? Without the S, just meaning how are you formally, okay? That we have the tú, the informal, and we have usted, formal in Spanish. Me llamo, okay? I call myself, or my name is, okay? This literally means I call myself. The verb llamarse in this example is a reflexive, meaning we do that to ourselves. Okay, so yo me llamo. I call myself Nate. Okay, me llamo, my name is. You can also just say soy Nate. I am Nate. Okay, that's a very easy way to remember. Okay, ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? Literally, how do you call yourself? ¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo Nate. ¿Cómo te llamas? Yo me llamo Nate. Okay? All right? ¿Cómo te llamas? You wouldn't necessarily say ¿Quién eres? Because that sounds a little weird, like who are you? But you can also just say soy. Soy Nate, me llamo Nate, and then ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? Soy de California. I'm from California. Soy de California. ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? You can also say ¿De dónde es? Which would be coming from usted. Okay, that's the formal. Okay, but you can just say ¿De dónde eres? Soy de California. ¿De dónde eres? Okay. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I think when I first started and I was in the United States in California, I assumed that everyone who spoke Spanish I was talking to was Mexican. It was a dumb assumption, obviously, but I quickly came to realize that, someone could be from Guatemala, El Salvador, Colombia, wherever. So it's always good to ask, ¿De dónde eres? Because that person, for example, if you're in the US and you ask someone, ¿De dónde eres? Thinking they're going to say from Mexico, they might just say, I'm from the US. Like, I come from a Spanish-speaking family, but I'm from the US. I was born here, okay? So it's a really good question, actually. Soy de California, ¿de dónde eres? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Oops, I forgot my question mark there. ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Okay? This is just kind of a very general, broad way to ask someone what they like to do. This could be, what do you like to do in your free time? What do you like to do for work? Whatever. This is a very general question you can ask. ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Oh, me gusta jugar ajedrez, or me gusta trabajar, for example. Okay? What do you like to do? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Okay? Or you can just say, ¿te gusta? And then whatever you're trying to talk about. So, ¿te gusta la comida mexicana? ¿Te gusta el béisbol? ¿Te gusta Estados Unidos? Whatever. Okay, you get the idea? ¿Trabajas o estudias? Do you work or do you study? Now, if we want to speak in the usted form, we can say trabaja o estudia. All we do is cut off that S. Okay? ¿Trabajas o estudias? Ah, yo trabajo. Yo soy profesor de español, for example. ¡Qué bien! How good or how nice. ¡Qué bien! ¡Qué bien! Awesome, great. You can also say, ¡qué interesante! ¡Qué interesante! How interesting. ¡Qué interesante! Okay? Excellent. Let's move on. No entiendo. You're probably going to use this one all the time. No entiendo. I don't understand. No entiendo. Very normal. Don't say no comprendo. That sounds a bit odd. It sounds like you're saying, I don't comprehend, okay? It's like you're trying to comprehend this deep life question or something. No, just say, no entiendo. Ay, lo siento, no entiendo. Or, perdón, no entiendo. Both work. Lo siento is a little bit stronger. Perdón is like, excuse me, I don't understand. Perdón, no entiendo. Okay? ¿Cómo? Now, ¿cómo you might think means how, which it can mean, like ¿cómo estás? But in this case, when we just say ¿cómo? It means what, okay? It's better to say ¿cómo? Instead of ¿qué? If you say to someone ¿qué? It makes sense and it's fine, but it sounds a little bit rougher, a little bit, I don't want to say rude, but more informal. When you don't understand what someone says, better say ¿cómo? Now, people in Mexico used to say, and they still say, mande, meaning what, coming from the verb mandar, to command. From what I understand, this actually comes from the history of Mexico, comes from when the Spaniards came to Mexico and they would command native people to do things. And so that eventually became mande, literally meaning like command me. So it's becoming less and less popular, which I actually think is really good. You could say mande, but better to say something like ¿cómo? What? You could say ¿qué? It's fine, but better say ¿cómo? Okay? There's actually a funny video I saw online, which is ¿cómo? Meaning I eat, ¿cómo? Or I'm eating, ¿cómo? And then ¿cómo? What? ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo, cómo? ¿Cómo, cómo, cómo? It's like, ¿cómo? I'm eating. ¿Cómo? What? He's like, ¿cómo, cómo? How do I eat? Oh, ¿cómo, cómo, cómo? I eat how I eat. Anyways, kind of funny thing. Finally, mucho gusto. Nice to meet you. Mucho gusto. Okay? Mucho gusto. Nice to meet you. Okay, so that is how you can have your first conversation in Spanish. Even though it is very basic, this is literally how you can have your first conversation in Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, gracias. ¿Cómo estás? Bien. Me llamo Nate. ¿Cómo te llamas? Ah, yo soy Juan. Mucho gusto, Juan. Mucho gusto. Soy de California. ¿De dónde eres? Ah, genial, qué bien. Yo soy de México. Ah, qué interesante. ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Ah, a mí me gusta trabajar. Ah, ok. ¿Y tú, Nate, trabajas o estudias? Ah, yo también trabajo. Soy profesor de español, for example. Genial. Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. Boom. Very basic, simple conversation you can have in Spanish. You can have this with a coworker, whoever, literally anyone, okay? If you just meet someone for the first time, this is a very simple and easy kind of format that you can follow, okay? Now, some extra things I wanted to add. Learn vocab that is relevant or relative to your life. So if you work in construction and you want to speak with coworkers on the job, learn vocabulary relative to your life. Learn vocabulary about construction. If you work in healthcare, learn vocabulary about, how to take blood pressure and all of that, okay? So learn vocabulary that is relevant to your life. Of course, you want to learn the basic things and phrases that you say to people. Another really easy thing you can do to have basic conversations with people is just think about in English, what we would do is who, what, when, where, why. Okay? Who, quién, what, qué, when, cuándo, where, dónde, and why, por qué. If you were to just take all of those 5 little words and just ask questions, there's a very simple way that you can have conversations with people. Imagine going up to random people and having conversations with them in English, okay? Now think about how you would do that in Spanish. Hey, how's it going? Oh, how do you know so-and-so? Oh, where are you from? Oh, cool. I literally did this at a party the other day, okay? I met two guys from Argentina, very nice. Hola, mucho gusto, soy Nate, ¿cómo están? Hola Nate, mucho gusto, yo soy Carlos. Ah, yo también soy Carlos. It was like, they had the same name. Ah, somos de Argentina. Oh, genial. Yo quiero ir a Argentina. And whatever, okay? Just basic stuff, all right? Okay, and finally, I wanted to share a quick analogy related to the piano, okay? I've shared this analogy before here on this channel, but it depends what your goal is for learning Spanish. If you just want to have basic conversations with people and you're not trying to learn the language to fluency, then just learn words and phrases, okay? You're not gonna understand everything that people are saying to you, but you'll be able to have basic conversations. And I liken this to the piano, okay? So I can play basic songs on the piano, but that's about it. I can't read music. I can't play anything I want. I just play a few songs and I can impress people. They say, oh wow, you're really good at the piano. When in reality, I just know a few words and phrases. So if you just want to have really basic conversations in Spanish, then just learn words and phrases, okay? You'll have to memorize things, less, and it'll just be easier. But if you actually want to learn how to speak Spanish fluently, then be like my uncle, okay? My uncle, when it comes to the piano, can play anything he wants. Why? Well, because he learned how to read music, he knows the notes and the scales, so he can do anything he wants. He can play with the band, right? He can just play the piano, okay? And it's fun. He can do whatever he wants, okay? I can't do that. So if you want to learn how to speak Spanish fluently, then I always tell students there are the 3 pillars to learning Spanish: the grammar, speaking, and listening. So the grammar is how you're going to become fluent. What I mean by this is you have the advantage over babies because babies spend years listening before they even say anything, whereas you can speak from day one because you have, context from English. You've already learned one language, okay, so you understand more or less how languages work. The grammar, okay, you have a big advantage over young children because you can say, okay, well, why would I say, hablo instead of hablar or something? Oh, okay, that's because we have these conjugation rules. So learning grammar is really important. It's much easier than you would think. You really just need to find a good resource that you can follow. Next is speaking. Speak as much as you can. So speaking online with people, free language exchanges, within online communities, in real life, with a romantic partner, with friends you have, coworkers, okay? And next is listening, which would just be listening to podcasts, music, movies, shows, and so on, okay? We also have reading and writing. Typically nowadays that comes through just texting people online or typing things in at work or whatever, okay? But that's basically it, all right? So you need to learn some grammar if you really do want to be able to talk about whatever you want. But this will help you get by and have that first conversation in Spanish, okay? If you want to learn more Spanish with me, check out my Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. You can click the link in the description. I have almost 200 students in there at the time of this recording. It is really, really good. Click the link in the description to get all the info, see what students are saying, see that it actually is awesome. Obviously, I think it's awesome, but I want you to think it's awesome too, so click the link in the description and check it out. Muchas gracias por ver este video. Espero que hayas aprendido algo nuevo y espero que tengas muy buen día. Hasta luego.